3,
We
2,
aren't.
1. We're live.
I'm Maddy.
And I'm Ryan. Welcome to Insomniacs in the Morning. It's a Tuesday. Everything's wrong.
I know. It is a Tuesday. I'm sorry. I couldn't do Wednesday. I'm really busy with a lot of other commitments, Ryan. So
I know.
with my schedule.
Z-snap.
Even though it's Tuesday, I'm just as tired as I ordinarily would be. So
Okay, anyway, hey guys, I almost knocked over an entire bowl of oatmeal, and that would have been terrible.
You would have been really, really sad is what that would have been, because you would have not had any oatmeal.
I saw that a viewer came in, and I did that, and then that viewer left. So, I mean...
I don't know what people expect from this show.
Oh my god, I know. This is episode 20, number
Hopefully
1.
Nothing.
Which, congratulations. We did 20 episodes. We thought we were going to do, like, 3.
I'm trying to write a tweet. This happens every time. The first 5 minutes of the show are terrible. It's like us trying to also simultaneously compose a tweet and, like, get our breakfast. Like, we're literally never ready.
I mean, you think we would have it down to a science by now since it's been 20 episodes, but
it's actually just as shitty. If anything, it's gotten worse. Like, I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. First of all, Sky just tweeted at us. She's like, oh my god, what? I didn't even send in anything. Just talk about how cute my selfie was on Friday, please.
Sky, it's totally okay. We're doing the show on Tuesday. It's weird.
Just for today. Don't worry about it.
To ask you to send it.
But yes, your selfie was super cute. I think I responded to it actually.
It was really cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're a first-time listener to the show, normally Sky does a segment on this show at the very end called Sky's Recipe Corner, where we get a delicious recipe from Sky, and then Ryan and I try to share a recipe
based
of our own that's usually also, not even close to as impressive
and also,
as Sky's.
Sky also sends in jokes that I'm then delegated to read, because it could be Maddy, but they're like, no, we like it when Ryan reads it because he doesn't read it correctly.
It's really funny when Ryan read the jokes correctly. So anyway, neither of those things is happening today.
Yeah, and also Mary Ellen, who's normally on the other end of things, telling us if she can hear us and all that stuff, is not available today, so it's just us. I hope we're okay. But anyway,
Mary Ellen, the official and unofficial producer of the show, isn't here, so it's also even worse than usual.
She's more like the on-site editor, where she's like, turn up the mic, turn it down, you're talking too long. Ryan, I don't care about this subject. So, I mean, like, it's important to have her usually. Anyway, cheers to episode 20. I wanted to just quickly say that without Insomniacs, I wouldn't have started trying to get my shit together. Which sounds crazy because I do have my shit together, but this past winter I was very depressed, and Maddy suggested that we do this show because we were both pretty depressed at the time.
Wait, but Ryan, we're still constantly depressed.
No, okay, but true. But there are things that the show has done. It's one, made me like use an alarm, which I was not doing before. So days that I work, even though I still don't get up at a normal time, I'm like waking up.
Sorry, I'm like already interrupting you, but I feel like the show has actually vastly improved your life, but I'm just as irresponsible.
That's not true,
as
because
I was.
you're working out more. We both are. It started to inspire us to work out more and also try some recipes. And like, when you give me workout tips, I then add them to my workout routine. So like, I mean, it's helpful. This has become super helpful, and I hope it's helping other people. And if it's not, I mean, at least we're feeling good, right? So
I mean, I can say this. I definitely don't wake up early the other days of the week. I really wish I did. Ryan does.
I don't know, but see, like, we say that, but we should clarify that like early is still like 9 a.m. So like, I guess
but I don't start working till 10, and I have like so little motivation to get out of bed any earlier than 9:30. And I really wish that weren't true.
Yeah.
Like an idiot that it's not. But whatever, it doesn't matter. At least one day a week I do actually wake up for this show and like try to be a human before 9 a.m., which is really weird for me. So that's like a goal that's being achieved. Also, I finish eating breakfast before work on this show. Happens on any other day of the week.
I know. It's a little crazy. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like it has been helpful in terms of being productive, and maybe it's not. I don't know if it is for you,
That's
but for me,
definitely true.
it did sort of push me and you forward because we hadn't even started shooting Gino yet or started doing any other ideas.
Right.
We just were like, we don't know what to do, and like we were whining a lot, and like instead of doing anything, we were
And
just
I feel
whining
like
about
I've,
it.
Working out more, which is disappointing, but I've definitely been writing more music, which was my goal, and like talking to you about that and how that's going. I mean, anyway, speaking of that, the Indiegogo is actually launching tomorrow.
Woo! Oh my god, hold on, I have to
I
interrupt you. I have like this
promise.
crazy cowlick going on over here, like it's out of control. I can't even like do anything about it.
You're gonna have to buy some mousse. It looks kind of cute though. You look like an anime character with like a little tendril of hair sticking
Why?
out.
Well, I'm getting my hair cut on Friday, so I'll just deal.
No.
Okay, but anyway, sorry.
Ryan's making fun of people who say that. We're don't say Japanese phrases just for fun.
Wait, I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Tell me about Robot Nights.
Okay. Okay, so the campaign is launching tomorrow, and I sent it to like a bunch of people yesterday, including you, although you had already seen pretty much everything on the page beforehand. And like everybody had really helpful feedback. Like I sent it to like tons of people. I actually sent it to Sky, and she responded and was really, really nice, and it made me feel better because what Sky doesn't know is that almost everybody else who responded gave me at least one piece of feedback that was completely unfixable. And so last night I was
that's because like Sky is also
not intentionally looked at the page and like could tell what feedback to give, which was not to tell me to like maybe change like huge parts of the page that it's too late to change now.
Like change the photography.
Or like change the video, like anything that we can't do in 2 days. And there actually were some things where I emailed the studio and I was like, is it possible to change this? And the guy emailed me back and was like, no, it's not, Maddie.
I mean,
he didn't say that. He was very nice about it. But like, so anyway, now I'm in this very defeatist mood where I'm like, everybody's gonna look at the campaign, they're gonna fucking hate it.
That's
they're gonna
not
see
true.
It tomorrow, and they're gonna be like, I can't believe Maddie's even launching this.
No, it's I think
so
okay.
That's where my brain's at.
So first of all, I know that you're already in a bad mood about it because you accidentally sent out the emails last week.
Little better. Oh my god, yeah, we didn't talk about that. So I fucked up. I forgot. We could talk about that in this show. I accidentally sent the emails out to Ryan's Chitara action figure and also everybody else.
Yeah,
I sent out like a newsletter last Wednesday to a bunch of people. Not everyone, but like a bunch of people that said the campaign launching, because people remember that last Wednesday was the day the campaign was supposed to launch, but it didn't because it got delayed a week because the campaign video wasn't ready yet. So, but I forgot I had scheduled a newsletter then. So anyway, a bunch of people emailed me and they were like, hey, so none of these links work. And also like, didn't you say this was delayed a week? And I was like, so embarrassed and upset at myself for fucking that up and like got really stressed out about it. And Ryan was like, Maddie, none of this matters. And even the studio emailed me, big deal. And I was like, oh, well, I still feel like a complete fucking idiot. So thanks, guys. So anyway, that happened. And then like now I'm really worried that when the campaign does launch, people won't like it. But Sky was the last person to email me last night.
And she fixed everything.
She basically just like sent me a really nice email. And I was like, you have no idea how much I needed this. Like you probably will never know how much I needed to hear this. But she basically just sent me an email where she was like, I think it looks really great. And like, here's some things I like about it. Good luck. And I was like, you're the best. Like, I actually wanted this to be the feedback that I got.
I think
if it's small feedback where people are like, fix this sentence or like change these pictures. Like some people did give me feedback like that, which was really helpful. But other people gave me feedback that was like, can you make huge sweeping changes to everything about this? And I was like,
no, that's like,
no.
I mean, honestly, I think people view it and they think that they don't understand that you have a production studio that did like all the marketing for this. So it's not actually you.
So some of it actually isn't up to me.
Of like this like video or photo or even like the write-ups or anything until it was like time for it to launch, because like it's a very like cut and dry schedule where it comes in like right before it has to go out. So
yep.
I mean, like, it's
And
not
like some
dependent
people,
on you. And I think maybe that
it's
may be
not.
something to think about next time. Be like, we went to a production studio. So, like, because, like, I mean, there's been a lot of
It's
stuff like
dependent on
this.
their budget schedule. Like we have
Yeah.
to launch on this specific day because of their budgeting reasons. Like
Right.
they're
And
scheduling us to
we've
launch
talked
this
about
month.
this a little bit too, where it's like the way they approach marketing is totally different from the way that you would have done it if you were doing it yourself. But they're the ones producing the
Yeah,
album,
but
so
there's
you do
some
it their
stuff.
way, So,
That's right.
and that's
But
what
also,
people
like,
need
there's
to
some stuff that
realize.
I think they do better than I do. Like, there's some things that they've thought of to do for the campaign that I never would have thought of. And, like, even though I did fuck up the newsletters, like, overall, I think the idea of doing newsletters is good. Like, people actually did read them. And I know that because they emailed
I
me to
know.
be like, Maddie, the links
That
are
was,
broken.
I know, that was
So
like, that blew my mind because I was like, who reads emails? But then, like, so many people responded to it saying the links were dead. I was like, I guess that's still a thing.
I don't know. I'm like, well, I wish you guys hadn't read the email then, but next week, please do read it. So anyway, for next week on Wednesday, I made a new newsletter that's like a joke one where I'm like, remember last week when I sent you guys this broken link? Well, this time it actually works. So people will get that. Anyway, that's what's going
Wait,
on.
no,
with
it's
me.
going out today, right? It's not going out
No,
next week.
it's Tuesday today, Ryan. Remember?
Oh my
It's
God.
going out tomorrow.
I like how you said next week, and I was like, all right, we're both wrong.
Well, I think I said, you know what? This is being recorded, so I can find out if I fucked that up or not, but I'm not going to do it right now.
Don't worry. It
Tell
will take
me
you a while
what's
to even
going on
find
with
where
you.
my recordings are because I like sang for 10 minutes into the mic before you showed up.
12 minutes late to this show. Is that what you're saying? Because
No, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
I wasn't very helpful either. Say they're like singing about my amiibos, so whatever.
I always listen to those. Ryan like starts recording in Audacity like 10 hours before the show starts, so I just get like a really long audio file from him. Anyway, Ryan, you saw the Goosebumps movie.
I did.
With Jack Black.
Yeah, the one that just went up on Netflix. It also was just in theaters, like in December or something. And I
didn't see it though.
Well, I had wanted to see it when it was in theaters, but like it came and went so fast because movies like do not stay in the movie theater for more than like a couple weeks max now, and then they're on DVD like 2 seconds later.
I don't know that people liked it very much. I mean, I'm gonna guess you liked it because you're Ryan Pajella.
No, I mean, like it was a hard sell at the beginning, but then I ended up liking it. But I mean, it was definitely aimed at like people that had read Goosebumps like 20 years ago because there was like, where do I start on this? So like the way that they shot the movie was a throwback to the way that they would have shot any movie in the 90s. So it was definitely sort of wacky and like sort of the camera angles they used and like tricks that they would have used back then or things that they did in this movie as well in terms of like transitions between scenes and stuff like that. But the first 10 minutes of the movie was rough because it was just like, I don't know, like bad writing. Like there was like a joke about twerking. And I'm like, why? But then after that, they started. I liked a lot of other things about the movie. Like the main character's name was Zach, which is one of the main like names that R.L. Stine kept using in his books. And then like, even though the story itself was about R.L. Stine's creations coming to life outside of his books because Jack Black is playing R.L. Stine. And by the way, he's the best part of the movie.
Which I thought was actually, I thought that was like a very clever framing device.
I agree.
Like even if the movie didn't work, I remember watching the trailer and being like, this is really clever.
No,
like,
but see,
this
like,
is the only way they could have made
That's
this
how
work.
I felt about it too. And also they didn't do it as like a horror movie. They did it as a comedy movie, which makes sense because Goosebumps really aren't horror books. Like we remember them being like, oh, they're gritty and scary. But if I've gone back and reread them like since then, and like they're super goofy. Like, and there are like little tricks the Goosebumps books do that they included in the movies. Like in the Goosebumps books, like the things that always scares the like characters aren't ever the monsters. That like the chapter would end with like something sounding like somebody was like in extreme danger, but then it would turn out to be like a cat or like a bird flying by or like a window or somebody like jumping out of the shadows being like boo, like, you know, like that kind of stuff. And that's how they did the entire movie. Like the things that were supposed to be scary, like they would always set it up and then like a cat would run by or like stuff like that. And then the characterizations they had, like Zach, which is there's always a Zach, and then there was like the crazy best friend that's also wacky and like has a weird name, like his name is Champion. Like there's always a character in his books that would have like a weird name, and they'd also be like sort of the goofball and like comedy relief and sort of like an idiot. And then there's like the crazy aunt, and then, you know, like for some reason there's only like one mom and all that stuff. So I mean, I thought that was interesting because like they pulled all that from the books, like, you know, in terms of like who these characters were going to be and like how they were going to set up and shoot the movie. And they just did it like a Goosebumps book about the Goosebumps books, which I thought was clever. And Jack Black is really funny. And I ended up actually enjoying the film, but I don't think it's something that is accessible to like the general public, because I really feel like you had to be a Goosebumps fan in order to even like really sort of appreciate what was going on in it, because otherwise it was just like another wacky kids movie. But Danny Elfman did the music, which is awesome. And
that is awesome.
I was just a little disappointed they didn't hit like all my favorite monsters that they had used. They just kind of focused on 5 or 6 of them. For some reason, there was a lot going on with the gnomes. And R.L. Stein's main enemy was Slappy the Dummy, which that makes sense. I mean, who else were they going to use? That was like Night of the Living Dummy was his most famous of all of them, besides like the Haunted Mask. So it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and it's on Netflix.
I remember thinking the book about the camera was really scary, and that
I
was
just
like
reread that one, Say Cheese and Die. Okay, I like how I said I just reread it. Sometimes like I reread like kids books. Like I really do this. I'm like, oh, remember that book I really loved when I was a kid, like a Goosebumps book? I'll pick it up and like, oh, okay, yeah. But when you were a kid, I remember it didn't take long to finish a Goosebumps book. It takes even less time now, so you just pick it up. You're like, you read through it like in one sitting, like, you know. But I like shit like that. Like I don't like things that go on forever.
No, I agree. It's why I keep reading comic books, because I'm a child, yeah, exactly. But also because it's like very satisfying and you feel like you got a cool story. And well, comic books are for like an older age group than Goosebumps. Like I was reading Goosebumps when I was in elementary school. I don't know how old you were when you were reading them, but like
same age.
5th grade. Like you can be really young and read those books. And I wasn't into horror as a kid. You've always been into horror, but I'm still not. And I still read those just because I liked reading and stories. So I was like, I'm willing to read a really scary book, even though it's scary, because I just want to read something. Anyway, this camera book. This book, I remember like really scaring the hell out of me, and it's probably so stupid now.
No, okay, it's still weird though. It's the one where he takes the photos and then sees the future. Creepy. Like he'll take a picture of something, and it's like it takes a picture that like also tells the future of something terrible happening, and then it happens.
Yeah, and like he and his sister take pictures of one another, and they both look really bad in the pictures. Like they both have like an extreme physical deformity in the pictures, and then like that starts happening to them. So there's like this. It's body horror is the type of horror that you describe. Like usually Black Swan is like the example that I give people when they're like, "What's body horror?" Like all those sequences where she envisions herself turning into the swan. I don't know if you saw that movie. It's really good, by the way.
No, we rented it and then didn't watch it.
It's like a great example of like very pulpy, corny horror, but it's like so well shot that you're like, I love this. I think you guys would like it.
I have some bad news, Maddie. Audacity just crashed and didn't save anything.
Well, wait, no, I guess the first half of this show is not going to sound very good.
Wait, hold on. It did save. Just give me 2 seconds. We have to. Cool. I literally am stopping the show so I can save this and start a new track. Oh my god! Wow, it was me that had the freaking stupid like audio problem this time. Why did that even happen? All right. Okay, I'm starting a new one. All right, I'm just recording again. Oh, it's recording on the wrong mic, I think.
Okay, you're gonna have to stop recording. Select the correct mic. Restart recording.
All right.
It's okay. All of this will disappear in post.
Yeah, sorry everybody that's watching this part because this sucks. I don't know why that just happened. Oh my god.
You know what? Computers are bad sometimes.
Okay, there we go. We're good. All right. So
okay, cool.
Sorry about that, everyone. That was like I panicked for a second because there's been times where like we've turned off the thing and then like Maddie's like, "Did you save it?"
But back to Goosebumps. So anyway, this camera book. This camera book is like about kids having that happen to them, or like another example is like The Fly, that Jeff Goldblum movie. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Yeah. No, I remember that.
it's like a sci-fi. So like it's like that, but it's a children's book where you're like, things are happening to my body that I don't understand, and like for better or for worse, that's pretty relatable for kids.
Right. I mean
So
that's
like I don't know, it was like a terrifying horror book to me because I was like, what if things just started happening to me, like some strange
if you took a
medical thing
picture
happened,
and like you saw that you were like falling off the
picture part
staircase
is
and
kind
dying.
of irrelevant, really. Yeah, I mean, like that was the framing device, but like the horrifying part to me was like, oh, like what if things happen to my body that I have absolutely no control over, and like that's terrifying for a kid. So I think Goosebumps books took like a concept that would already be scary to kids. Like Dead House was about moving to a new town and not being able to make friends, and then when you do make friends, they're all like zombies.
Yeah.
Like that's like a relatable fear where you're like, I'm moving to a new town, I don't know anyone here, like what if everyone here turns out to be fucking terrible?
I know.
Like,
I mean they were good
and that's
books,
the same thing Buffy does. Like Buffy took but it was a really good formula. I don't know. I guess I'm like kind of sad that the movie wasn't better. I'm just talking about how I like Goosebumps.
I mean,
that's fine.
Same.
Anyway,
I agree. It's a fun movie. It's got Jack Black. That's worth it. But
get through the first
I've
10
sort of
minutes
liked it. I'm just like, go reread the Goosebumps books because they're still good. Give them to your kids. Scare the shit out of them. I nod knowingly. Yeah. All right, what else do I have going on here? Sorry.
You have a couple other things. We talked about your vlog before, but people should still follow it.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about
like
a daily vlog that's starting.
Vlog.
It's about just sort of like living life to its fullest and doing a new thing every day and leaving your comfort zone. Because I don't want to be one of those people that like sort of falls into the patterns of monotony of like everyday life, and I'm like, that's not me. I have to keep on doing new things, and it's like there's so many cool places you can go and like restaurants you can check out, and I started actually making a list of like places and things that I want to do once when I get this vlog going, and even like parts of the world that I want to travel to, because I think it's good to have these goals and like, you know, just sort of be like, don't be afraid of anything because you get like one chance at life, so live it to your best, guys. And so that's what the vlog is about, and it's going to be daily, and it's 3 minutes every day. But what I'm talking about today is that its official start date is May 30th. So that's like the weekend after you and I are getting together and finishing the shoot for Gino and seeing everybody again. So that's when it's going to start, and that's a Monday. And you can go and subscribe at Follow the Sun Vlog on YouTube. That's it. I just want to say we have an official date because before I kept on like being like, it's mysteriously going to come out at some point this year, like this month, maybe. So
I think you said it was going to be at the end of May before, but we'll remind people next week because that'll be subscribe.
Yeah, and then it's going to have to make me do things like stop playing Elder Scrolls Online for hours and hours a day.
Don't beat yourself up for that.
No, you have no idea. I'm spending way too much time playing this game right now. Like.
So why did you just suddenly get into Elder Scrolls Online? Well, apropos of nothing.
Well, first of all, you know that I like the Elder Scrolls games, but I hadn't been playing this previously. Like I had played the beta when they were looking for beta testers.
It's not a new game.
But like Steph and I have been playing that Resident Evil game for like months and months and months, and like we like leveled up the characters so they're all like 99, and like we were just like repeating levels recently, and I was like, Steph, we need to find a different game to play because we're not even doing anything in the game anymore. We've done these levels hundreds of times.
Well, it was just like an excuse to hang out.
Yeah, and that's what it was. And I was like, you know, we should play Elder Scrolls Online because you'll fucking hate it, and like, you know, it will be funny to watch us play it together. And then she was like, yeah, it does seem like a stupid idea. Let's do it. And well, I was trying to like sell her on the idea, and then she like in the middle of that, she's like, I already bought it, don't worry. And I was like, oh, okay, when? She's like, right now. And so we started playing that a bunch, and it's been a lot of fun, but like we weren't expecting to get as addicted to it as we have been. I didn't think Steph would be as into it as she has been, but she's already spent money on DLC, which I have not done. So I mean, I think she's into it a little bit more than me.
Disposable income. She has like money that she could spend on that.
She was like, I need a demon horse and a pet tiger. And I was like, okay, you can't even pretend that you don't like this game anymore. Like,
that sounds pretty great, actually.
Yeah. So
when you guys post videos of yourselves goofing around in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that making a Let's Play is probably way too much work, but you guys do the short version by like posting little videos of
whenever I do a Let's Play, because I've been even talking to Courtney about doing like sort of this new concept where we play games. Since there's a 10-year difference between us, I'm like, we should play games that you played as a kid and I played as a kid just to sort of see the difference. But if we do something like that, I like to cut them up and like just be like, okay, here's one episode. It's like 8 minutes long, and it's just like the best parts of us playing this game because I can't sit around for an entire Let's Play. Like, I'm sorry. I do it for Mary Ellen and Team Sexy Bane, but she's not here because she hates me. So,
well, she loves us enough to watch this shitty show most of the time. Don't worry, so she can't hate us that much. Anyway, so are you recommending this game? Because Elder Scrolls Online is definitely not the kind of thing that I would get into ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you like MMOs, I actually really like this one a little bit more because it still plays like an Elder Scrolls game where like it's the same controls and you can play it first. Yeah, you could do that, and it's first and third person. You have your weapons and like you have your spells, and it still plays like an Elder Scrolls game instead of an MMO where you like it's like hit 1 to do this attack and 2 to do this one. It's like you're still actively playing a game and using the controls like an Elder Scrolls game would play. So it's very different from other MMOs in that way. But it sort of makes it a little bit better. And the only thing that I like a little bit more about it being online as opposed to a normal Elder Scrolls game is that like in the Elder Scrolls game, like you'll be like fighting something and like you'll just die because it's you and maybe like one Maddy, I didn't know you were gone. Okay, I'll keep going. You'll be like fighting something with maybe one companion to help you or whatever. But in this, it's like you could be fighting something and be like, fuck, I'm going to die. But then like 20 people just show up and that's really nice. And, like,
that does sound really nice, actually.
And like, that's the one plus about playing games online.
The upside is when everybody helps you, but I'm assuming that there's no PvP, or at least you guys aren't going to like a PvP server.
I didn't even look. Like there might be, but like I'm not even doing that right now.
I'm sure there is.
So
yeah, that's good. You're just working on cooperative stuff, which is the only thing that I can stand to do in a video game.
Yep.
Although I don't know, everybody I know is obsessed with Overwatch, which is like that team-based shooter that Blizzard made.
Well, I was gonna say I haven't even played Overwatch yet, but it's like so popular right now.
I missed the window for the beta and I haven't played it at all and I don't have time to play it, but if I were going to start something, I think that would be it. So I might
That sounds about right. I like first-person shooters, but you like them a lot more than I do.
Also, like team-based first-person shooters are really fun, especially if you're playing with your friends. So.
See, when I play first-person shooters or anything first-person, I like immediately like I'm like spinning around and like it's just that's just not the way my brain operates. And one of the nice things about Star Wars Battlefront, which is a terrible game by the way, but like the new one, it like has the option to do it in third person or first person. And Ben's like, he has to use it in first person. And most people do when they play shooters. But I'm like, no, I need to go in third person. And like, because I was playing it in first person, I was like getting no kills. And Ben's like, you suck at this game. And then Steph's like, or no, he was like, you can put it in third person if it helps. And then I did that and immediately was doing significantly better. And I'm like, this is just the way my brain operates. And it's an interesting thing to think about because I didn't know that was like two different brain types happening there. So...
yeah, the other thing that like actually is two different brain types, and maybe this is boring as hell, but I like read an article about people who use inverted controls.
Oh yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
There's like a whole like series of studies about how people have two different kinds of brains.
Right. I'm on the inverted, by the way. I can't do it the regular way.
Invert controls. I have to invert controls. And like I read this whole article explaining it and I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is exactly why my brain thinks that it should be inverted. And I'll send it to you and we can put it in the show notes.
That's awesome. I'm already really excited to read that, but...
because Zach is always like, why are you inverting the controls? And I'm like, first of all, you don't even play shooters, so you're wrong about everything.
Luckily, Ben and I don't have that fight because Ben also inverts.
It's not like a fight. He's just like, I don't understand why you would do this. It makes no sense to me, kind of a thing. Like for him, if he's going to play a 3D game, which he almost never does, but like if he does, he's like, I would never invert the controls. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, some people just like can't do it, and like It's just
which is completely fine. It just has to do. I'll send you this article. It's really interesting. But there's definitely like probably a similar thing with over the shoulder shooters versus first person shooters. Like I know some people find that a lot easier. I actually think first person shooters are easier. I'm happy to play an over the shoulder shooter, but if I almost never even look at my character. You know what I mean? Like I don't need
it's
that.
interesting because Ben says the reason why he likes first person shooters is because there's less to look at to get distracted by. And I'm like, that drives me crazy because I like in third person you can see a lot more. I'm like, I need to see everything that's around me. Otherwise, like I freak out. I mean, that I don't know what that's about, but I mean, you're right that it's an interesting like it's brain thing happening. Yeah.
And it might have to do with like whether or not you're comfortable turning around in the game and like remembering what your surroundings are when you turn around.
Right.
Like if you're looking at like a top-down game, you can just see your surroundings and you don't have to worry about turning your character around. So it's like that's potentially difficulty, but I don't know. For me, it's more because it's just more shit to keep track of. Like I can just look around in first person and be like, this is where I am. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, yay, video games.
Hooray. Let's talk about some things that don't require a controller, like workout tips. Yay.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So we're gonna play that game where it's sort of like charades a little bit, and you have to like describe to the viewers and listeners what I'm doing. But what I'm gonna talk about today is a dumbbell swing, which I originally read it as a kettlebell swing, but I don't have a kettlebell, so I do it as a dumbbell swing. And it's works out a whole bunch of muscles. That's going to be like your upper thighs and like your lower back and your shoulders, where you start off in a squatting position with your weight and sort of swing it upwards. So I'm going to get off so you can see me do it and you can describe it to everyone.
Okay.
Get out of my way.
Standing up, moving his chair out of the way. So that's definitely step one. Okay, so he's holding the dumbbell in both of his hands.
Lift it up like this.
Okay.
So like you're starting in your thighs and moving up, and then it's your lower back, and then it's your arms, and then your shoulders, and then back down again.
So he's holding the dumbbell with both hands straight out in front of him, perpendicular to the floor, and putting it between his legs and then standing up and raising it stretched.
Sup.
Hey, the kind of exercise that you could potentially really hurt yourself if you did it wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's because I mean you are the part that you could hurt yourself on is on your
any exercise where you're holding a weight and squatting. I'm always like, be really careful because
go very slow, don't go fast. But
I
that's
did like a bunch of workouts this week, and then yesterday my back started to hurt. Although it wasn't my lower back, so it wasn't from squatting. It was like my upper back from doing.
Usually, okay. See, I used to think that was a problem, but then it turned out that my muscles were ripping and getting bigger, and I didn't know that. I was like,
well, I think that maybe the problem for you is that you don't stretch enough.
I was gonna say, I think I know the solution to this problem, but Ryan's sort of an idiot about it sometimes.
Yeah, if you stretch more, then your muscles won't get as sore. But for me yesterday, I don't think I stretched enough, so I fucked up. But I feel way better today. It wasn't an actual injury. It was more just like residual soreness from working out.
Right. So anyway, it's
my workout tip. I was gonna do mine unless you had more to say.
No, I was gonna say just be careful, but we already said that 3 times. So be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
I don't know if this is. I don't know if I can like show you this on camera, but because I don't think I can move far enough back in the room for you to really see me.
Well, what's it called?
So I'll try to do the same thing. Well, I'm gonna call it a squat and a leg lift, but basically it's like you do a squat and you lift your leg out of the squat, the side. So
like peeing like a dog.
I have a video. Yes, exactly like peeing like a dog, except don't pee because that would be really weird.
Wait, is that actually what you're doing? Is that like the motion?
You're gonna do this.
Okay, to describe to the viewers, Maddie's like making like
show
the
you.
scissors.
I'm gonna fucking do it.
Okay, you're making like the scissors motion with your fingers, but upside down.
Yeah, well, those are your legs. Okay, anyway, so I have a workout video, and these are the arms that they have you do. They have you like put your arms from side to side to help you balance, but you could probably do anything during this. I don't know. Okay. You just have your hands on your hips. So like you do a squat, and then as you lift up, you can't see my leg, but
I know. I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
And so you do like multiple reps on one side.
Oh, that's
and I'm
smart.
lifting my right leg. And then
that's easy but very useful.
It's useful because you're working out multiple muscles at the same time, which is like always a time saver. So if you're doing squats anyway, you could add a leg lift to the end. There's like a million variations on it that you can do.
They put
like,
a lot of that in cardio videos and Zumba videos.
There's like a squat and a kick that I've seen in a lot of my videos too, where like you do a squat and then you do like a roundhouse kick with one leg. I don't know if you've ever seen a video that did that, but like it's basically like if you're already
like
doing
Taibo.
kicks, then just like add a squat into the mix and like do a squat, then do a kick, do a squat, then do a kick. Videos that like recommend putting a squat next to any number of other leg movements that you can do. Yeah, if you're just doing squats and you want to add something
like high kicks, and then you can spin around and scream like Ryu.
Yeah, do some high kicks, do some cheerleading moves, just like go wild.
Become Chun-Li, why not?
Oh my gosh. If I had like the vertical lift of Chun-Li, that'd be pretty good.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Jump straight in the air.
She can do that thing where she like kicks high straight up in the air. Like, I mean, she's a real person. So I mean,
oh yeah, Chun-Li is a real person, and she's my workout #goals. So that's definitely real. I definitely print out pictures of Chun-Li and put them in my fridge. I don't know
if you're lying or not right now. Like, is this a joke or what? I'm like, you say that as if you didn't do that with Samus at some point.
I've done shit like that in the past, but honestly, like in retrospect, printing out a picture of a fictional character
is not a good
aspiring
idea
to look like them.
I mean, you were talking about like when you were originally cosplaying Samus like 10 years ago. You had a picture of her, and you're like, "That's my ideal weight." But she's like literally
I knew
like
what feminism was, and when I did like 600 crash diets and felt like shit about my body, yeah, I remember 10 years ago.
I mean, that's
let's talk about that version of me.
Well, I was going to say, it's more like you're looking at a picture of Samus who is not even, like, proportionately correct. So, I mean...
Yeah, she looks really good, but also isn't real. So I don't think I should hold myself to that standard.
Cheers.
With my body now.
That's one thing you learn about in your 30s, is that you don't need to be fucking skinny. The end.
I mean, not everybody learns that, but maybe we could preach that. Like, don't worry about that shit. I got way happier after I stopped thinking about it, and instead I just was like, I want to focus on getting stronger because that's what's important to me. And
and everybody's body types are. This is actually good for a workout.
It's genetics.
A
lot of it is genetics.
Body types are very different from each other. So even if you are somebody that is like working out all the time and you're not like achieving your ideal look, it's like that's just not the way your body looks, and like it's
like that can be disappointing. Like there's definitely things about my body that I used to really hate, but I don't know.
Yeah, I need to
just like accept what you look like.
Exactly, and like that's cool, and like you can still be healthy and not be like what Hollywood wants you to be. So,
Yeah, fuck them. We're not trying to be.
Anyway, on the morning news, speaking of Hollywood, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
That's a weird transition.
Speaking of Harley Quinn, I don't played by Margot Robbie, one of the most conventionally attractive women on the planet. I think this is really cool. Ryan was very negative about it yesterday, but I still think
conceptually,
it's cool.
I think it's a cool idea, but I'm just very concerned about anything that comes out of like DC period right now because they're just like pooping everywhere. So
me too. But basically what's happening is that Margot Robbie, who's going to play Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad, is producing a follow-up movie that is going to be about Harley Quinn and like Birds of Prey characters. So like potentially Catwoman and Poison Ivy will be there, but potentially also like Batgirl will be there.
But that's not a bad thing.
Anyway. That's not a bad thing. None of that is bad.
I mean, we love those characters. I know. I'm just concerned because one, they're probably going to base it off of New 52, which is not good. And I've been keeping up with it and just hoping that maybe, because I'm okay with like alternate universe stuff and I'm trying to accept it as that. But it's still not good. Like the writing is generally pretty terrible. And secondly, it's like, I mean, the things that have come out from DC that's been produced on a movie level has been like Green Lantern and Batman v Superman and like all these other shitty movies. Although I am excited about Wonder Woman, I will clarify that. The only thing that has been really sort of on point has been all those DC animated films. So like,
well, yeah, but that's a completely different team making those.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's just, we already know like that's not how it's going to like translate to screen. So that's why I'm concerned is that sure, I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be great. It would be like Birds of Prey with all like the villains of the Bat universe. But or is it gonna be some weird other thing that like they ended up producing? That's where my concern is. So
yeah, I mean, it might be really crappy. And like when I say I'm excited about it, I don't mean I'm gonna be like counting off the days on my calendar. I just mean like I'm glad it's happening. You know, like my barometer for excitement is pretty low. Do you know what I mean? Like I mean,
that's fair.
I'm not gonna like be upset if it sucks because this is something that is literally years away. The main thing that I'm excited about is the fact that Margot Robbie is the one producing it, which is really cool. And also she hired a female screenwriter and that person hasn't been named yet, but
cool.
It is cool that she specifically did that. And it's also cool that she's been reading the comics. I don't know if she's reading New 52 or what. She didn't.
But she's reading comics in general lately.
She's reading the comics, and that's why she wanted to do this, was because she like read all this stuff about her backstory as Harley, and like actually seems to really give a shit. So
that's important.
The fact that she's like investing her own time and money and image into doing this when she doesn't necessarily have to, and it's probably a big risk for her because you know everybody's like, you know, female-led superhero movies is never going to work. And so I feel like she's putting her money where her mouth is by being like, I'm going to make this happen. And if it's a failure, okay. But by being the producer, that means she's probably putting her own money into it, which is what Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool. He was a producer on that. And like, that's how that happened.
And then it turned out to be great. So maybe that's what's good. Maybe this will be like female Deadpool. Who knows?
It might be a similar success story. So that's the reason why I'm hopeful, is because she's taking point on it. If it were DC making it, I would be in your spot where I'm like, I don't fucking care. But this was an idea that she independently came up with and pitched to them, and they accepted it, which is a little bit different than them coming up with it. You know,
you're totally right. And it's just like, I always am so concerned with these movies. So
I know it might be fucking terrible. And if it is, you and I will be the first people to tell you.
We'll let everyone know everywhere.
I know.
Speaking of other movies, and we're not going to spend too much time on this, is that X-Men Apocalypse is coming out in 2 weeks. We're pumped. We're having an X-Men themed party. It's great. But the reviews right now are so mediocre. They're like, but they're not even bad reviews. They're like, we went in and it's just sort of like
they're bad reviews, Ryan. They're just bad.
Okay, no, but it's not in the way because they're like, it's not like X-Men 3, so don't worry about that. Or like, what kind of comment is that?
Well, we don't know. And I haven't been reading the reviews. I've just been reading like titles and like sort of looking at scores and stuff because I don't want to spoil too much about it personally.
Yeah, a lot of what I've been reading reviews is that people are like, we just saw Civil War and like, this is not like that. And I'm like, well, no, duh. But then the other fair point is that they're like, Bryan Singer is directing the same film again, which is probably true. So that I agree with.
It's just going to be like X-Men and X2 again, essentially.
Which is fine. But like, it is what it is. We'll give you a full review when it comes out. I'm still excited about the movie. Like, it's still set in the 80s. Jubilee is there. Even if it's like for 5 minutes, that's more than any of the other movies. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I have tempered my expectations somewhat for that. And now I'm just seeing it as like, we're going to hang out with our friends and talk about X-Men, and maybe the movie won't be that great, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Also, the Black Panther cast is looking to be really awesome. There have been like a million tweets about this already, so people have probably seen this news. But Lupita Nyong'o is rumored to be in it, and Michael B. Jordan is definitely going to be in it. So that's
awesome.
2 great actors who are signed on already to be in it, and we already sung the praises of Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther last week. So I think this movie's going to be really rad. That's all I
think so too. I'm really pumped for Black Panther. As soon as Civil War was over, I was like, so when's Black Panther coming out?
It's not coming out for like 2 years. Or something really long. I don't know. Just really annoying, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. We don't need to talk about all these TV things, right? Or did you want to?
It's okay. But like every single TV show got canceled this week. Like every show.
Yeah.
Agent Carter and the Mockingbird spinoff that I think we talked about on this show.
Yeah. Well,
Castle got canceled. I'm the only person who's still watching it.
you know what? Just to clarify, in our notes, I wrote, "Who even watches this show anymore?" And Maddie goes, "I do."
I do, but I'm not going to pretend it's good. It definitely has fallen off the rails this season, and I'm sure Nathan Fillion is very glad it got canceled because he already has been tweeting with James Gunn about Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's rumored to be Wonder Man in that or something. And there's also all these rumors that maybe he's going to be in a Booster Gold movie or some shit.
One could hope.
I don't know. So Nathan Fillion's probably really glad to be done with the procedural law show that he was on for a billion years. Because I get the sense that he would rather be doing something else, but that was probably a huge money
a little bit
for
more
him.
nerdy than that, yeah.
Yeah. But it's hard to get out of contracts like that. And it was probably a ton of money. So he probably was like, I feel like I should keep doing this procedural TV show forever. But there have been some rumors that one of the stars on Castle, probably him, really wanted to leave and go do movies. So I hope that means Nathan Fillion will be in movies.
Who else
enjoy watching
it.
It could be Stana Katic. I mean, she's really good too. So
That's
it's possible
true.
that she just was like, I would rather do movies.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
I don't know. It's literally all rumors. So whatever. Anyway, maybe Nathan Fillion will be making a return to genre fiction soon, which I would be into.
I think he does want to do that because he was trying to get Firefly season 2 off the ground for a long time, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I know.
It's too late now. It's been too many years.
It's been too many years, and that would also just be really strange. I actually really don't want that.
Would it? Because at this point we're hitting that thing where everybody is going back and be like, now we're going to make the sequel 20 years later, and it's always okay.
But I don't actually know that I would trust Joss Whedon to do it well anymore.
We're just going to leave that
really
there
mean,
like that.
But I don't know. Having heard the stuff that he was planning to do with the rest of the seasons in Firefly after the fact, I was like, that sounds really weird, man. I'm kind of glad you didn't do any of that.
I have a very love-hate relationship with Joss Whedon, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
Everyone on the internet does.
It's
kind of like Dollhouse Season 1 in comparison to Dollhouse Season 2. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Maybe it's a good thing that Firefly only had one season. That's all I'm going to say.
The only other thing on here is that Buckaroo Banzai might get a TV show directed by Kevin Smith, and Buckaroo Banzai is so obscure, so I don't expect anybody on the show to even know what it is, but it's this crazy movie from the 80s that's got the production value of what Maddie and I filmed in high school. So, I think you should go check it out. I'm pumped for this. Maddie hasn't seen it, so we're going to do an 80s night, and I'm going to make her watch it. So,
okay. I'd be more interested in watching the original than seeing a remake, even though I actually think Kevin Smith, has some good ideas sometimes.
I'm a fan of Kevin Smith, depending... I like his stuff, and I know that some of it is not good, and sometimes,
weird
problematic
with his friends.
Yeah. Well, but he
can be surprisingly good on that score because I know his wife is a feminist and helps him out with a lot of those parts of his movies.
No, exactly. It's interesting to look at that aspect of things, and I think that's why I like his stuff so much. Also, he wrote and directed a lot of movies that I loved as a teenager. So anyway, you want to do some reader mail?
Sure. Do we have any?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We have that first one from James that said, so I was wondering what your guys' biggest cooking fail was. And you and I talked about this extensively yesterday.
Ryan has so many. I don't have as many. We talked about it on the show once, the time when Ryan and I accidentally burned some popcorn when we were children.
We hid it from my dad by throwing it into the woods.
Dad by hiding it in the woods because we were so scared that we were going to get in trouble for burning.
I know. And then I was sitting there, I'm like, I don't know if there's any cooking fails that stuck at. And I was like, okay, well, here's some. And I kept listing them. And Maddie was like, Ryan, why do all of your stories end with something catching on fire?
Yeah, you had a story where you put some hot chocolate and marshmallows in the microwave and that caught on fire, which does not sound possible.
Okay, also there was a time we put mac and cheese in your microwave oven and this is what it really was. It wasn't hot chocolate that I was thinking of, but that was a separate time.
Okay.
But there was the time that you were asleep in your house and I was hanging out with some people in your house and we went to make mac and cheese and that caught on fire, but that's because something was in there that wasn't supposed to be in there. I don't remember what it was. Something was covering it.
Or something.
Yeah, that was a piece of paper,
Oh my God. You guys are idiots. All right. So apparently most of these things happened at my house without me knowing. And
but don't worry. When I was a teenager too.
you were worried that we would get in trouble, but instead of your dad, it was with me, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But
so that's why I never knew about any of these stories until last night when Ryan told me. So
what was the cooking field that I was? Oh yeah, there was one day like when I was like a teenager, like I was like 13 or 14. I was like on the phone with Katie, our mutual best friend who introduced Maddy and I, and I like realized I went to cook like probably a chicken patty or something in the toaster, and like this is when I didn't understand that you need to take like package this bread off the top of the toaster, which because that's where we stored it for some reason, which is not a thing I do here. I don't put anything on top of the toaster.
Yeah, I can understand that problem. It's never happened to me, but I get it.
Yeah, so like I turned it on and then I was like, what's that weird smell? And it's like the plastic had melted across the toaster. So like I'm screaming about that, and like something was catching on fire, and then I went to like clean something up, and then ended up like spilling water and food all over the ground, and then like dropped a knife on something, and Katie's like, what is going on there? And I was like, I'm like, don't tell my mom.
Wait, but wasn't the toaster ruined because it had like plastic all over it?
We had to get a new one after that. And I mean,
so you were like, don't tell my mom, but of course she instantly came home and was like, okay, I mean, so there's melted, burnt.
Oh no, it's my mom. She's like, what the hell happened? Like, you know, I broke so many things in our house, like the phone that I put in the microwave, but I didn't tell her that until like very recently. Cause that's the moment where she was like, why is the phone broken? And I was like, I don't know, it just stopped working.
The phone's broken for no reason. And we didn't tell them about the fact that you put it in the microwave, like ever. That was
I told her like sometime in the past last year, and she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm surprised you ever told her. I'm like a surprise.
Well, we're at that age now where like we have been admitting to our parents like all the stupid things we did, like the parties we would throw when she wasn't there. Like,
yeah, although I was such a bad liar even back then. I always told my parents about stuff. Like my parents knew that I brought you guys over to my house for a lot of those times. Like they would go out of town during the Kineticon musical, and like I had like a Christmas party, which is like where a lot of these.
They were probably like, well, Ryan's there, so
yeah, they probably trusted us and didn't realize that you were like setting macaroni and cheese on fire in the microwave every other time.
Now she's never gonna let me come over to her house again, so
I think it's probably fine because for some reason she now thinks we're responsible.
I don't think I was the one who even did it. I think it was like somebody else that put it in.
Could have been any number of our friends.
And I was just like,
also it could have easily been either of us. Like, why are we like acting like we're above this?
We haven't burned popcorn before.
We have. It's been a long time since I've accidentally burned something though. Like it still happens from time to time. But usually the cooking fails that I make now as an adult are accidentally burning my hand. Like that's the most common one.
That's what I do too.
Like especially with the cast iron, the handle gets really hot, so you have to be really careful not to touch it, which is annoying.
My thing is I just spill everything everywhere still, but now the dog licks it up real fast, so I have to clean it up super fast.
There was that time recently when I spilled an entire salad on the floor and I got really mad. It was the entire salad.
I could have been like, well, Maddy, there's some of it's salvageable. You're like, no, I was
like Ryan, literally all of it. Like a huge chopped salad that I had made for lunch. I just like, it slipped out of my hands. I didn't even trip. It was just like the plate, well, the Tupperware container that it was in was slippery, probably from salad dressing. It was one of those days
that you were having a bad day already.
I was already, yeah. And
really
then I was like, I'll just make a salad.
Probably what actually happened is that you like angrily swung it out and threw it everywhere. I mean, I don't know.
No, it's not. It wasn't even that. I think it was actually just that the salad dressing, like it has oil in it and it's kind of slippery. So I like poured salad dressing on it, picked it up to go take it into the other room to eat it, and dropped it instantly, like as soon as I picked it up. So I think there was just like a little bit of salad dressing on the edge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you just anyway, so we have lots of stories, but we should read another reader mail. This one's from Taylor. It says, hi, Maddy and Ryan. It's graduation season again. This year has hit me especially hard because some great friends and my sister will be moving 5.5 hours away. Other than a weekly podcast, how have you two maintained long distance relationships? Any and all advice is appreciated.
Such a good question.
This is a great question because this is what we're going through sort of like right now.
Not even right now, because like you and I have been in a long distance friendship since day one, because Ryan lived in Natick, which was 45 minutes away from me, and we were best friends, and like I had to beg my mom to drive me over there. So what we did all the time was talk on the phone, literally.
Those were teenagers then. What else were we going to do?
Yeah, so like my advice,
do that
honestly,
thing that I still love quoting, where it's like you'd be on the phone with me, and then your parents would come home, and you're like, "I gotta go. I'm supposed to be doing homework," and then you would call me 2 minutes later and be like, "Okay,
yeah, I
I'm
would
like
just call you
upstairs in the
secretly
attic
on the
now."
other line.
I was like,
Yeah. Mostly, I think what I would do was that I would know that I wasn't supposed to be on the phone with you, so I would hang up. And then I would go ask my mom and be like, "Hey, Mom, can I call Ryan?" And she'd be like, "Sure," because she had no idea that we'd already been talking to each other for 3 hours
oh my
secretly.
god!
And then I'd just call you back and be
then you
like,
would
"Now
get
I'm
off
allowed
the
to talk to
phone, and then we would get on AIM
Yep.
and talk
Yep.
until it was time for us to go to bed. So
Okay,
I mean,
so but my actual advice, like this is like really old school, but this is something that Zach's been doing recently with one of his friends who moved to California. And after she moved, they're like best friends. And after she moved, I was like, they're not going to talk to each other anymore. It's going to be really sad. But they legitimately call each other on the phone like once every couple weeks and like have a conversation. And I know that that sounds really old school. Like these days, people are like just Facebook. They never actually call each other. But
no, I agree with you, but
for
take
maintaining
it
like a friendship, you should like call each other.
No,
I mean, obviously
exactly.
we're doing a video chat, but
right. But like,
I mean,
also, I was gonna say is that like take a step further, and like if you have Skype or FaceTime or even Facebook Messenger does it now, you can call people on that. And I've gotten super recently. Like I was always Skyping for a long time, and you know that, Maddie. It's like I would be like, okay, this week I'm calling as Katie or whatever because I really miss my close friends. But because now that everything's on the smartphones, we get the video with that too. So I literally like carry it around while talking to her. I'm like, look at this new thing I got. And like, I mean, it's, we have the means to do it. We've just gotten really lazy about like texting and messaging. And it's like, no, you just need to take time to call them. And I think video really helps because you can see their face, and we have the technology to do that right now. So like, take advantage of it. We're in Star Trek.
So like that. I mean, like it sounds like this person is maybe in high school and going to college based on the wording of it potentially. So like obviously try to make some new friends wherever you're going.
I mean, yeah, you're right about that.
That was something that I kind of wish I had done. I've had so
I don't have any advice on that because I didn't leave for years. Like I finished high school and like just hung out. I didn't go to college right away. So I mean, and when I did, I just commuted in.
Just like hung out. You hung out with me.
I would pick some of my friends were still in high school after I graduated, so I'd go and pick them up from school when they got out.
That's normal.
So
I had friends who were younger than me too, and I like tried to stay in touch with them, although it got harder and harder as time went on. Like you and everybody in our friends circle was the only people who I like really did a good job staying in touch with. And I think that's because Ryan really took the initiative on like actually continuing to stay in touch with people. There were some years in there where you didn't want to stay in touch with us and we had to take the initiative.
I'm glad you did. But you can learn about that on the podcast that Harley is going to release pretty soon, apparently.
Not joking sad period of time in Ryan's life when we all had to like befriend him. But that's part of it too. Like even if your friend's going through something tough and they're like, you have to be there for them too. And that's hard to do if they live really far away. But I figured it out. Yep. So good luck. Call your friend. I mean,
call them. And we have all of our group. We meet them like once a month now. So all right, we gotta keep moving with reader mail and then do Gargoyles because it's already 10:12. Hold on, let me before we get to Mary Ellen's, let me just answer this other person, David, who sent what are your favorite music videos? And honestly, I mean, I can't even think of anything new that I super like. I still like watch a ton of music videos.
What's a good one that what's the one that I know we both like is the one where Kylie Minogue is walking around town and she's meeting all of her like clones of Kylie Minogue. We both love that one. Which song is that?
Okay. Well, that's oh shit, what's it? Well, it's something
Just Google like Kylie Minogue clones.
No.
That one's really fun.
Where's Ben? Ben would know the answer to this.
Literally anything by Beyonce.
I think it's Come Into My World. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Beyonce's
right.
Good.
Beyonce is like becoming an epic film master lately. She's like producing these amazing artistic things.
Beyonce is just the master. I mean, period.
She's amazing.
The end.
So I'm trying to think of like other artists who are doing really cool stuff with music videos. I watched a really, really good one that I meant to send you recently. There's like a Mika Snow video that's a James Bond parody.
No, I've already seen that. Yeah, the one where they turn out to be gay at the end.
It's so good. Oh, it's called Genghis Khan is.
Yeah, it's also a great
video
song, number one. And first of all, like Ben
song.
showed it
The
to me
video
like
is
months
so
ago,
good.
and like I don't remember him showing it to me. And then recently I posted it on his wall, and I'm like, look, it's like Goldfinger but gay. And Ben's like, I showed this to you, and I was like, I have zero memory of this, which is the worst thing you could possibly do.
I know. I've done stuff like that too, though.
Oh well.
All right, so
Mary Ellen,
is that it? Do we have any more?
We just have Mary Ellen's craziness. She goes, hey guys, first of all, very opposed to your decision to host this show on a Tuesday morning since I have these terrible department meetings on Tuesdays and I can't watch you talk about me live. For a dating update, I was on both OkCupid and Tinder for like 2 days, but then Tinder got weird and creepy, so I deleted that. So things are going great. Oh, I actually have a real question for you. I'm still trying to meet people in Boston since I've been here less than a year, and I'm probably going to stay here maybe. How do I make friends? And meetup groups legit? Are meetup groups legit, or are they sketchy and awkward? Because they seem more sketchy and awkward. I just want friends. Also, did you hear Dane Cook auditioned for Captain America? Ha ha ha. Great work, Maddy. Ryan, maybe put in a little bit more effort. Love, President Barack Obama. And she also goes on to say,
if that was Barack Obama, that would be amazing if he was like,
oh wait, oh dude,
guys,
okay.
I need help making friends.
First of all, I'm just gonna let you know that before we answer Mary Ellen's questions, Mary Ellen also sent a really funny email with a joke and a recipe in it to sub in for Sky.
Aww.
They're working together. I love it.
Yay! Do you want to read those first?
I literally don't know anything about meetup groups. The end.
I can answer that question.
I don't know.
I actually did used to go to a meetup that's called Women in Games Boston, and I used to go to one called Game Loop when I was still a games journalist. And like 6 years ago when I was starting out and I really didn't have any friends in Boston, those were really helpful because not only did I make a lot of professional connections, I also made a lot of friends. So like that was how I made all the friends that I have in Boston now. And unfortunately for me, a lot of those people have moved to New York City recently or just moved away. Like Todd lives in Baltimore now, but that's how I met Todd, was at Game Loop. And that's how I met like Joel and Amanda, and they live in New York.
We used to go to a lot of conventions that would do the same thing, right? Like we'd go to cons and meet some people that we are still really good friends with.
We met a lot of people at ConnectiCon. I mean, like obviously we're not still in touch with all of those people, but some of them, yes. And like, so yeah, meetup groups are stupid, but like if it's something that you're actually interested in, it can be really great. So, and even though I make fun of video games all the time, like just go to the meetup group and like talk to all the women there. Like
just don't talk to men.
You're gonna figure out.
I agree with you.
From them, which men are okay to talk to.
I'm with you on this. I'm like, just don't talk to men. They're dumb.
Sorry, but that's my advice. Like it fucking sucks. Like if you go to those groups, like especially for video games, it's gonna be like 600 men and 10 women. Like that's what it's gonna be. But in my experience, all the women are standing together in a corner. And they all know each other.
In most groups, actually. Like it doesn't matter if it's video games or not.
Yeah, but in video games, they usually all know each other, and like usually, like some of them are cool. Maybe not all of them are cool. I'm not going to pretend they're all cool, but like you'll find a couple people that you can get along with, and then they'll introduce you to other people. So like for Mary Ellen, since she's not a gamer like me, I guess I would recommend like or something that she's interested in, like movies or TV or something like that. I mean, there's all kinds of
supernatural meetups. Actually, don't go to those.
Yeah, if there's like a supernatural meetup, yeah, I actually super wouldn't recommend that. But like, I don't know. Also, I could like hang out with Mary Ellen and stop living in the middle of nowhere. And
yeah, why don't you guys like make each other leave the house and grab stuff while you're over there too?
Just I don't know. I'm busy.
All right, well, my turn. Do you want to talk about Gargoyles quick before you do read your mail and before we do recipes and close out? Yeah.
Sure. Ryan, this show is longer than an hour. I hate to tell you this.
Well, we also have to stop starting late. I didn't want to talk about. I was thinking about skipping Gargoyles, but people have already like messaged us. All right. So,
we started at 9:15 and it's 10:18. This show is longer than an hour now, so something's got to go. Let us know which segment you hate the most, and we will cut it out.
Probably the beginning. Like they were like, "Get the fuck out!"
They'll be like, "Please stop talking entirely. Please cancel the entire show."
Episode 20, we made it this far. So
For
I
me,
guess
I actually like Throwback the best, so I'm sad that Throwback is always the thing that ends up getting short shrift at the end of the show. Like, now we're only going to get to
we
talk
might
about
have to
Gargoyles
shuffle
for
it
like 2
around.
minutes.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I guess Gargoyles was a show that came out in the 90s that like everyone pretended they didn't watch, but we definitely
Before we were
did.
even friends.
I know.
Before Ryan and I were even friends. This is a throwback to before, when I was just hanging out with Katie and I hadn't even met you yet. Katie and I watched Gargoyles constantly, and I still wasn't watching any TV at home.
It's
and I
still
also didn't
good.
have cable.
It was a
so
Disney
I
show
only
in the
watched
90s.
Gargoyles at Katie's house.
Well, it was a show that like also was like super dark and created by Disney. Like they had guns and stuff. It was dark and gritty, like Batman the Animated Series.
Like the episode about guns is like intentionally supposed to teach kids about gun violence.
Yeah, but then Xanatos
safety.
keeps using them. So I mean,
but he's a bad guy, so
Xanatos
it's kind
is
of
great.
Like different.
Xanatos is, you know what
Well,
Xanatos is? He's an evil Tony Stark. Literally, that is exactly what Xanatos is.
Tony Stark is already evil, so he's really just like Tony Stark, but with writers who understand how evil that would be. You know what I mean? Like, it's writers who are like, it turns out that if something like Stark Industries existed, it would be really fucked up, and this is what it would look like. And also, Gargoyles did a really good job at balancing between supernatural and science fiction.
Right, because
like
Gargoyles came from like Scotland, I think, and and they are stoned by day, and then like they explode and rocks go shattering off the roofs and hit people in the face because that's when they wake up.
Actually, the rocks never hit anyone in the face.
I know, but like when you just think about
reason.
that, you're like, wait. And, you know, there was Goliath in Brooklyn and Demona who, like, flip-flops sides all the time and goes back and forth between trying to kill them and, like, mate with them.
I actually really recommend this show.
I really do,
I rewatched
too.
it recently, and it held up really well. Compared to other kids' shows that I've gone back and rewatched.
Well, like I compare it to the Batman animated series because it's a very dark and gritty show. And Ben, who's never seen it until like he was an adult, like he was watching it with me, and he was sort of like, it's kind of interesting that they're teaching kids to read because all these things are based off of like characters from like really famous novels and stuff like that. Like there's a character named Macbeth who's running around, and he's like it's like reading and then like bazookas. It's like crazy.
Well, because when we were kids, there was a lot of like, go read a book. I actually feel like that's kind of different now. I don't know if they're still doing that, but like almost every time I go back and watch a show from my childhood, all the characters are like, please go read a book. And it's
there used to be a poster in the library
that like TV was bad for you. And like, you had to try to convince kids to read. And even when they were watching TV, you had to be like, hey kids, remember how great books are? Like there was a lot of that. Like Wishbone, like that's all Wishbone was.
Oh my God, Wishbone. That's a different throwback.
Next week. But anyway, Gargoyles is actually really, really good. Like I wouldn't even really want to spoil anything about it because I actually legitimately think that our viewers and listeners would enjoy watching it or checking it out.
I do too. And unfortunately it's not streaming anywhere, so you have to like really go out and get it. And it took them, they still haven't released all of it on DVD. It took them forever to release the second half of it on like of season 2 on DVD. But I mean, it's very good. It's very good storytelling. It's about these like gargoyle monsters that like live at night and they work with their like cop detective, who's a woman, by the way.
Alisa Maza.
She's like really well put together. There's a lot of great characters that are women in this that are also like on top of their shit, like Fox, who is basically Maddy.
Yeah, if I were evil and dating Tony Stark.
No, but she doesn't. Because then she turns page. Remember,
she's a flip flopper too. There's a lot of women in this who are like, maybe I'll be evil or maybe not, and that's cool.
There's a lot of guys that are like that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuanced characters who actually think about what's happening in terms of whether or not it's going to hurt other people and like whether it's worthwhile. And there's like hard questions being answered all the time.
And there's also like a lot of, it's towards the end of season 2 and definitely in season 3, which is the weird one, that they kind of touch upon like X-Men type of stuff where they're like, you're like giant mutant creatures, like this is not okay for you to be running around New York, and like there's a lot of politics behind that too, so they explore that. Who was your favorite gargoyle?
Oh man, when I was growing up, probably Brooklyn, because he was like the cool one.
And, you know, he was definitely mine. I wanted to make out with him, even though he had a beak. Like,
but honestly, like, I mean, I guess now going back, I would say Demona because she's so fucking cool.
I still love Brooklyn. Brooke's my guy, but Demona is like the one who is like, I don't know, like she's like
she's
most
just
politically
fucking cool.
correct. Like, I mean, she's doing that thing that I love that Magneto does, where she's like, this is not okay. What's happening is not okay, and like nobody's fucking doing anything about it. So I'm gonna make shit happen.
Yeah,
and, like,
it's amazing. And like as a kid, I just thought she was evil because you're supposed to like side with the kids on the show, and the kids on the show are the Gargoyle kids. Like Brooklyn is like a kid, and when I was a kid, I felt like he was older. Yeah. But like now when I watched it, I'm like, Brooklyn is acting like a child. Like he's like a teenager, and they write him as that.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, that's sort of the kids' way in, is that they can like relate to the younger Gargoyles, and then Goliath is kind of like the father figure for everybody.
Right.
But now as an adult looking back on it, I relate much more to like Goliath and Elisa and Demona and like their story together.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's great.
I love Gargoyles. It's still really worth watching now. All right, let's read this recipe and then get out of here.
Okay.
Sorry, we didn't talk more extensively. Somebody had asked what our favorite pairings were like in Gargoyle.
Oh man, Elisa and Goliath, even though it's completely fucked up.
I was going to actually reference that fan fiction before we knew what fanfic was, and Katie found that.
This is how Katie and I discovered what fanfic was because we found a fan fiction. This was the first fan fiction I ever read when I was like 12, and frankly too young to be reading this shit.
And it was like a dirty fanfic.
It was an extremely graphic fan fiction about Brooklyn and Demona fucking.
Yeah, with the sexy version of like the grimoire or something. I don't know.
It was utterly fucked up, and like as a kid, this was like some of the first stuff.
You guys read it. You were like, you can't let Ryan read this, and like I did. I found it anyway.
Then Katie immediately showed it to you. I was like, please don't show Ryan. He's just gonna laugh at us, and then you did.
All right, end of that.
Also,
story.
you were like, how do you guys not know about fan fiction already, you fucking nerds? And we were like, sorry that we haven't been Googling porn since we were 11, Ryan.
I know.
And you were like,
well,
I'm an expert.
It's like a year later. I'm like, I have a year's experience.
Everyone involved in this, like their experience was like Googling porn. Like that's nobody knew anything. Anyway, whatever.
All right, so anyway, I wanted to share that because like that's a funny memory to me.
It is really funny.
All right,
but that's not my favorite pairing. that pairing has now scarred me for life. I hate Brooklyn and Demona together because of that.
I'm with you on Elisa and Goliath, even though like I think
they're
Lisa
cute together.
Yeah, but I think Elisa winds up with Matt at the end. I don't remember.
Yeah, they try to like nip that in the bud because I think they were like, is it bad that we're telling kids that it's okay to fuck a gargoyle?
I don't know. I like Xanatos and Owen, even though Owen is also pucked and is magical. So I don't know what that's about.
They're pretty cute together though, so that's a good pairing.
I know. All right, let's see Mary Ellen's thing. Mary Ellen says, I saw Sky didn't have anything prepared, so I'm going to throw you guys a joke and a recipe. The joke is, why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. Ha 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 ha.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is great. Recipe. You're going to need a bowl, some milk, and a box of Coco Krispies. Pour the Coco Krispies into the bowl, then pour in some milk, enough to work with, but not so much that the cereal gets all mushy. Appropriate milk to crispy ratio is very important. If you're lucky to get that nice leftover chocolate milk mixture at the end, eat it with a spoon. Enjoy. I'm just going to follow that up and say, first of all, I mean, when I eat cereal now, I usually get like the healthy stuff, and then I put like bananas and granola and all this shit in it. But if we were going to talk about really shitty cereal that we want to eat, I'm still 100% all the way Captain Crunch. I love that shit. So. Oh
man, I don't know if I can get on board with this. I tried to eat some honey bunches of oats recently, and that's like kind of a healthy one, and it was still so sweet that I was like, this is like a dessert. Like,
yeah, I mean that's.
I'm old. I can no longer eat these things and enjoy them.
Like the Froyo stores and like, you know, where you make your own frozen yogurts, they have the cereal toppings because it's sugar. There's no, I don't know why we promote kids, or especially in the 90s and 80s, to eat cereal because it was just.
They can handle it. They have such fast metabolisms and they're constantly running.
I know, but they were like, it's full of vitamins, and like, this is literally just sugar. There's nothing. It's like wheat and sugar.
I don't know.
Sometimes
I'm told
corn.
it because like kids are so picky. You just need them to eat anything, and like it doesn't matter. Like they just need to eat some calories because they're not going to eat otherwise. So like whatever you can do to trick your kid into eating is fine.
I think it was that like you're tricking your kid to eat milk with it, and I think milk was the thing that you're getting any kind of like sufficient. vitamins
maybe
from.
there would also be some fiber, and like maybe there would be some healthy ingredients in the cereal itself that would keep you full, but the sugar would be how you would wash it down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it would be like bran flakes or whatever that would actually like help you in terms of like digestion, but it'd be covered in sugar so that you get your kid to swallow it. Like that's the trick, right? Like that's how
It's
you're
like
tricking.
like when you're eating medicine or vitamins, you're like, how can I trick my kid to eat this thing?
Yeah, but now that I'm adult and I don't need that anymore, I eat honey bunches of oats and I'm like, this tastes like just
put bananas in everything. It makes everything significantly better.
I just eat oatmeal now because
Me
oatmeal is
too.
like flavorless, so I can add the amount of like honey or whatever that I want to
I put
it.
like all sorts of fruit and stuff in there, and granola and protein stuff. So
We're fucking boring now. We're just old and boring.
yeah, but Captain Crunch is still good. You can put it on top of your ice cream or frozen yogurt.
Yeah,
That
that's
being
probably
said-
actually really good. I could probably eat it if it were in a dessert context. Anyway,
it's 10:30. We gotta go. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Insomniacs in the Morning, for if you want to just watch this part. But we also put like 10-minute clips of like our best parts up on our main YouTube channel, which is Atomic Blue Productions, which you can go to on YouTube or go to our website. You can also find Atomic Blue Productions on Instagram and Tumblr and Twitter and Facebook. So go check us out there because we post everything there as well. You can catch Maddy and I on Twitter at Dr. Yoshi2 and Samus Clone. And am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, did you say email? Did you say iTunes?
Oh, no. Yeah. If you want to download the podcast, go to iTunes, Insomniacs in the Morning. It posts sometime within the week, sometimes the day of the next show.
Possibly not because I'm really fucking busy, so it might not go up until Sunday. Sorry.
And if you don't have iTunes or you don't like iTunes, that's fine. Go to our website, atomicblueproductions.com, and that's where all the podcasts
RSS feed,
are.
so you can subscribe there.
Yep. And
Cool.
yeah, what was the other thing you said?
Email already? I don't remember.
Oh, email. Yeah, email us your topics and questions to insomniacsinthemorning@gmail.com. All right,
and
we
we'll
got
answer them, even though we don't have any time to do so. We'll still
We need-
fucking answer them.
In fact, you can email us and tell us if there's any parts of the show you want us to get rid of, because that might make it easier for us since we never start on time.
Yeah. Also, we're gonna be really sad because we really like our entire show, but please let us know your favorite parts, and we'll try to keep that stuff in. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for watching,
Shocks
everyone.
us.
We gotta go.
Shocks who watches this show.
BRB, everyone. I mean, not BRB. See you next week.
G2G.
G2G.
That's what it is.
All right. Bye, Maddy.
Bye.